Alright, we've got some more Final Fantasy XIV storyline going on here. The quest is called Hither and Yarns, which I think is... I just had it in my mind. Hither and Yarn? Yeah, I think it's a play on Hither and Yarn. Given to us by Urion J. We are in the northeast portion of this big central circuit, which we've only explored a little less than half of. And level 88, let's go. Thou hast my gratitude for lending courage to the Loperites. Not disposed to rest on their laurels, several of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may still come hither seeking counsel, and so shall I remain to aid them as need be. If thou art needed elsewhere, do not let me detain thee. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check in on Alice. Last I saw, she was struggling to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate, says Thancred. I could go myself, but we both know whose help she's less like to scorn. Not to mention that, much to my misfortune, I can think of several other things I ought to be doing. Until later. You butt. Yeah, I'll go carry heavy shit. Jerk face. Alright, and we are about to go explore another section that we have not explored yet. Come on. So we head west. Around this great central circuit. What's it called? It's like a ring. There you go. I was like an unfilled circle. A donut. A donut would work too. But that's what we're in. There is something in the middle. It's that fan shape made of what looks from here like stone with bronze maybe as like these. I want to say filigree, but like they could be like structural lines to help form the concrete how it's needed. But we go around the donut a bit to the west, we find Alice with some boxes. And the boxes are squealing. Mercy, what are you doing out here? What are you doing out here? No, I don't mind if you help with the boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Are you sure? Well, I appreciate the assistance. We need to get these to Aporia. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples, so try not to be too rough with them. Alphino should be waiting for us when we arrive. I'll see you there. Deliver the crates. 3 minutes to complete it. Can I mount? Nope. Ooh. Can I sprint? Nope. Boo. We're so far uninhibited. Do I only have to do one crate? Is that what's going on right now? Okay, that makes it easy. That makes it really easy. I thought I had to deliver like a bunch of them, but one crate of samples shouldn't be too bad. 2 minutes left. Oh no. Oh, it's a fate. I was like, what are all these yeah, I didn't recognize a symbol above their heads for a second, next to their name. This man has lost his confidential documents. I didn't do anything, but you're welcome. We find Alphino. Oh, you're helping with the crates. Wonderful. You can put that there with the others. Put that there with the others. Put that there with the other. You have my gratitude, but how did you come to be involved in this? I explain. Ha, then I suppose I have Thancred to thank as well. He turns to look at a section I haven't been to yet. If you're wondering why we were tasked with bringing these boxes to Aporia to begin with, so was I. It turns out that this is a base of operations of sorts. Those with final say as to what is included in the ship's manifest can be found here. Father included, I suspect. The box shakes itself, I think. Alice, that should be everything. You carried all of that at once? Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh hush, they're lighter than they look, and not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we finished. Theopoldin is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance at least. Considering where we are, we might even learn something interesting. Of course I will. I'm not gonna go back. She runs off. Fourchenault gives us a little bit of a shrug. And come along shrug, you know. Yeah, come on. Alright. Southmore, we have a big area-ish. Once again, I'm going to fail to describe things. Got some dome buildings made of stone. We have a pool, like a very, very shallow, like more of a fountain, but without the fountain. So it's just like a shallow pool you could wade your feet in if you want, I suppose. I don't know if you're really allowed to do that in good company, but... Jacobo Porter I'll grab. Etherite I'll grab. And then this way to talk to Theopoldin with the twins. I'll form as good a rectangle as I can here. Probably more of a parallelogram, but it's all good. Gods, it never ends, does it? What can I do for you? We've brought samples from Charlie and Hamlet, Series 110. The crates are by the entrance. Ah, thank you. I'd expected one of my colleagues, but we are dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You are Fourchenault's children, are you not? Alphino and Alice at your service. You're well acquainted with father, I take it? Quite. I've been friends with your parents since our days at the studium. I remember when you were yay high, waddling hither and thither. Clearly it's been quite some time since we met. 'Tis good to see you again, wielding your father's no less. You knew our parents when they were young. What were they like? Pray, spare no detail. I should like nothing more than to regale you. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here, and reams of paperwork want for submission. We can help with that, in exchange for the sort of stories our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. You scamp. Very well then. There happens to be 3 sets of documents in need of delivery, so how about you each take one? Hands them over. Wait, right there. They go off. No, he hands me papers. It's like my Poro Rogo little minion guide. Reach for it too. This is a weird timing. You'll find a forum representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost structure. I hope I haven't kept her waiting too long. Never mind Alphino and Alice, I'm certain they will be back soon enough. South structure. This way is south. You look like Thancred, but you're not. You just have a similar coat. Is this not what you would consider to be the south structure? Am I supposed to be up in there? Let me get up in there. Yep, that's where I'm supposed to go. Reserved representative. Are you not one of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn? I thought you were meant to be working on the ether burner. And over the signed documentation. This music does not represent what's going on here. Theopoldin's paperwork. I was beginning to worry he had misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in seeing these documents to my hands, at least. At last, as for your other task, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope you Scions succeed. The Exodus is, without a doubt, the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, and so we must be circumspect in all respects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlian has ever been a nation of the curious. 'Twould be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie your pursuit of truth. She goes walking into the building, disappearing. She becomes a ghost. Am I gonna get stuck this way? Nope. Nope. Quick and efficient. I dare say you have a talent for this work. Delivery? I actually kind of do, sadly. The twins' papers only needed to be delivered to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning any moment. Cutscene. That's the lead up to a cutscene if I've ever heard one. And it was. We return, with not a scrap of paperwork remaining on our persons, you will note. You both have my thanks, and my apologies for sending you on an errand far below your ambitions. Why, even as a babe, you struggled out of your swaddling clothes, and that is quite enough of that, thank you. It was compromising stories of our parents that we'd asked to hear. To reiterate, he laughs. Of course, of course. I've known your father for so long. I must have something. Well, as you know, part of why the Levelier name garners such respect in Charlian is your family's storied history. You too can trace your ancestry directly to those who came aboard Nyan Krepf's Hope, a lineage few can claim. That's Nancy Y-U Nancy K-R-E Paul Frank apostrophe Sam. Nyan Krepf's. Yeah. I've never thought of it much. I never thought much of it myself. It's not as though our forebears founded our nation. They were simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride, says Alphino. 'Tis why Nyan Krepf's pronouncement, renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason, has ever been our family's creed. He nods. Until your grandfather's time, aye. Archon Louisoix looked not to Nyan Krepf's words but his deeds. He asserted, in defiance of his peers, that choosing to save the great and the small from the rising tides was the true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilizations that led to him. No, that's wrong. I should say that led him to conclude, but this says that led to him to conclude that to eschew conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to his doom. There will ever be conflict, and calamity will follow. Thus, to ignore the plight of those to ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. You remember his words well, indeed. Archon Louisoix lived by that personal creed, and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charlian and no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet Fourchenault could not reconcile Louisoix's deeds and the philosophy of their forebears and his peers, a philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Fourchenault agonized over this contradiction for much of his life. Gods, father. A son may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. Is it not always thus? I'm getting worse. Gods know Fourchenault's a cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that you are constantly in his thoughts, every moment of every day, and that is not an exaggeration in the slightest. It is. You should have seen him when you were born. Barely recognizable he was, with a kind of dumbfounded grin I'd not seen since he first took a fancy to your mother. He was practically skipping when he told me the news. Take my word for it, he loves you to an embarrassing degree. He giggles a little bit in his hand, or laughs a little bit. But he is also frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other end of it, as I'm sure you will agree. I'll say. Thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. Try not to get me into too much trouble now. I need the form on my side. Speaking of which, I have to be getting back to work. I have to make sure those specimens you brought make it to their proper places, or the cranky old goat will have my hide. We can speak again later. Hither and yarns. Yarns, tales. I like it. Good, gotcha. And Hither, because we traveled. Yeah, good. Good name for a quest, I think. That's the end of this quest, and it's the end of the video as soon as this cutscene finishes, and we make sure there's nothing else. Nope, there we go. Hail, you three, says a random voice. Oh, it's Graha. Graha, surely Kakol hasn't driven you out of the forge already? For better or worse, no. However, he has set me a task that requires more than my single pair of hands, and here you are. I could use at least one of you, but I won't object to more. Unfortunately, Alice and I have prior commitments, and we have delayed it too long as it is. So they look to me. What about you, Mercy? Can you spare the time? Yeah, dude. That's all I do. Spare time. Perfect. This shouldn't take long. Cool. So we'll be buddying up with Garaha soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. I'll see you next time.